Welcome, guys, to another episode of Inside the Shift. And in this webinar today, we will go through especially what some of the leading footwear brands are doing, leveraging immersive 3D on their e-com and also in their marketing efforts. And with me, I have
Mattias.
As always.
Yes.
Nice to have you here, Mattias.
Nice to be back.
Nice to be back. Like, we need to get this up and running again.
It was a while ago.
Well, it was a while ago. But before we kick off, we have got a lot of different questions, Mattias, the last couple of weeks. And like, what do Fibbl do differently from other vendors and how you should think? And I want to take this opportunity to give you 90 seconds just to explain like the difference of Fibbl's end-to-end solution and why it matters.
Let me see how I phrase this the best way. First of all, we try to have an end-to-end solution from A to Z. And for us, it means two pillars. You have the production of photorealistic 3D assets at scale. And then you have the distribution of 3D experiences at scale. And I think that's the first important thing to highlight, because many vendors might focus on doing the production of some things or just the experiences that end consumers are supposed to do. But we have both. And we have designed everything from the production to the distribution for our web and e-commerce use. So it means that we can do hundreds and thousands of photorealistic 3D models in our studio. And then we have a seamless connection with our own SaaS platform that enables the brands to scale these hundreds and thousands of models and assets across their e-commerce with ease, with scale. Only thing that the brands has to do is to ship the products to us. They connect it with their product feeds in our platform, and then they do a few clicks here and there in the platform to make it show up on the website after they have integrated the script. I think that's, in short, how you phrase it.
That's it. And also because when you look at these e-com experiences, you have a 3D viewer, 3D banners, augmented reality, all this stuff. Some of the brands, they have created 3D assets for another purpose. Earlier in the process, in the DPC process, or like we have a 3D file and then try to figure out how to use it. And the way the Fibbl did it is where do we want to use it, and then what do we need to do in order to make that happen. So that's just setting the stage. I think it's important. We have said this over and over and over again, and it's quite a different approach to how brands operate and how other vendors are what they're doing. So I think clarity is always good. If you come to us with a car and say, yeah, can you do this car in 3D? We will say you should probably work with someone else. That's not our core focus. And we only do shoes and bags at the moment because we need it to scale. Good. That's handled. Now we're going to go into the different brands and experiences. And I want you to start this time with explaining what Intersport International is doing. What are they doing? Why are they doing it? And how are they doing it?
So first of all, Intersport as a group is very curious on new technologies. They try to do something different compared to their peers, to not only fight on price and campaigns and offers, but also to give a better experience, whatever it may be in physical retail or online. So we were a part of a bigger project that was around elevated product content. And it was not only 3D, it was traditional imagery and videos as well. But 3D was a big core of the project. And what they did was that they produced 3D, AR, video, all of the technologies that we offer on all of their own private label brands, such as McKinley, Energetics, and those brands.
Yeah.
And they embedded it on 7 different markets across Europe. And they went 3D first, which is our most common concept, which means when you lead with the 3D model and you have the 2D content secondary. So just as you go into their website, you see that you're displayed a 3D model. And unlike some other examples that the viewers might have seen from before, they also have annotations from the beginning. And the main reason for this is because their products are so technical. Many of them are hiking equipment. And for a hiker going up on their biggest challenge yet to date, they need to rely on the material. So, and Intersport knows that not everyone, or like a big chunk of the sessions and visitors, don't scroll down and don't find the specifications and unique selling point of the products. So by integrating the 3D first approach, having an annotation that explains the specifications and unique selling points and technical highlights of the shoes, they ensure that the user gets as lifelike in-store experience as possible, just as if you were talking with a store assistant explaining why you should have this boot on your next hike. On top of that, they have also incorporated the virtual try-on so that the users can see how it visually looks on them. And in certain cases, for another category, they also have the AR feature to communicate the size.
Yeah. And so, because they are doing, as you say, many interesting things, what do you think is the main driver? Because as we know, the bigger the company it is, decision takes a long time. Like, what's the strategic angle that they have? Do you think? Like, what's the main driver behind it?
The main driver is to give a better experience to their consumers, in short. And they talk a lot. They are very strong in physical retail, and they talk a lot about the experience and the kind of KPIs and retention engagement metrics that they have there. And they're trying to make something similar online. So they see this as one of the core strategies to really have a deep, memorable experience online, as they also have offline. Yeah, and like I think many of the brands that we are working with, they have that in common. Like, they want their consumers to get a better experience, and then you need to do a lot of things. Like, of course, I think the annotation makes so much sense. Like, I'm selling this service, but like I have never like read like these product descriptions that are like super long. But if I knew that something was water resistant, perhaps that gave me the chance of making a better decision. Because at the end of the day, it's like great experience, good information, so you can make a decision. Exactly.
Whether that is to buy or not to buy.
Exactly. And also you might, like, if we take the very specific example of experiencing a shoe, it might be so that you're interested about one specific part, let's say the sole. And most oftenly, when you have both product imagery and long descriptions, you have either different positions showing different details on the imagery, or you have long text with paragraphs about the different things. And here, in the 360 experience, you as an end consumer, you take control yourself. So you go to the part where you want to look, and you instantly find those details that are interesting for you. So I think that's a big shift as well, that the users are in control of exploring the product.
And how does, because you sit with all of these brands after the fact, once they get started, how do they feel about giving up control? Because we know that sometimes, I want to control what they see, what they like, everything. And this approach is like, here, you choose. How do Intersport or other brands reason with that approach?
At first, for most of them, it's kind of scary because they have some art director or some brand person that wants to control what they see first.
And that's their job,
of
right?
Course.
So that's also like, it's in their job description.
Of course. But then once we have a chat about it, and once we show some proof from other brands who have tried this before, 9 out of 10 are comfortable with trying it out. And I would say, as soon as you talk about how consumers are used to behave in a physical store, then all of this is like removed, because you sort of don't have the control either in the store. Then it sort of makes sense. If you can do this in store, and we know that in general the conversion rate might be higher in stores because of numerous and given reasons, why not try a similar approach online? It makes sense to have the consistency. So yeah, most of them may be a bit afraid because it's something completely new. e-commerce have looked the same for plus 25 years. But then once they tap into the analogy and they see some proof points from other brands who have lead the way, then 9 of them, they try it out and experience the results themselves.
Yeah, but I get that, and I like we talk to the same brands often in different stages or some stages, but I still think the comparison to the physical store is like, this makes sense. Like, I don't need to have all the data in the world in order to try this. It's just like in the physical store is like this, in the digital, and we bridge that gap, we move forward, we come a little bit closer. So I like that. One other brand I think is very interesting because of their implementation, both on the PDP on the PLV, is J.Lindeberg. Because they have taken the approach to really go for the consumer to they don't even need to go into the PDP to get these experiences. So walk me through what are their thought process behind doing this in the beginning, and what have they done? Why did they do it? And stuff.
Yeah, first of all, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to have favorites, but this is one of my favorites because they have done a superb job in the implementation.
Yeah.
But J.Lindeberg is having a really, really harsh focus on sustainability and taking control on returns and trying to control the things that they can control. And they have been following some studies and they have heard that I think it was 28% of all returns in the industry is made due to misleading expectations. That the consumer sees something and they don't get home. Or they don't get the same product at home, basically. So because of this, they thought that the hypothesis of leading with a photorealistic 3D model, where you show it in a different way, could help that. So they are also 3D first with a prominent try-on button, so the user can try it on themselves to see if this hypothesis can be true. Beside the sustainability focus, golf shoes is also a particular new category from them. So they're trying to stand out on the market and do something differently compared to the competitors. So it's also a matter of the perceived value. Not that being the main driver, that's the returns and sustainability, but still worth mentioning. But what I really like and why I mentioned that this might be my favorite is because they did this with the sole purpose of the product detail page, where they see that they can have an impact of technologies like this. But they also acknowledged the challenge that they have and that any brand has of driving traffic and creating engagement earlier down the funnel. So on the product listing pages, they have also integrated the technologies in the listings of the golf shoes. So just via simple tap, the user can quick view the shoe in 3D. And not only can they just rotate and twist and turn and zoom and explore the details, sometimes it's also enriched with annotations. So just like with the Intersport example, the user directly understand the technical highlights and the unique selling points of this very shoe, but they can also swap color variation directly from the PLP.
Because this is one thing I think also makes so much sense. If you're looking at a shoe, you have 10 different color variations. Why should you go out and back and in? It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, and also like on many sites, you are also refreshing and reloading the page. So you have like this disruptive loading screens in the middle of your buying process. And here you can like watch all 10 color variations in 10 seconds, both in the 3D, but also on the quick virtual try-on. That is also next to the same button on the product listing page. And coming back to the store analogy, I think we all are familiar and feel a bit hesitant on trying on shoes when we are in store, because it takes some effort to take it off, take it on, lace it up, bend down and things like that. And here you can get someone to experience 10 color variations in full 360 and also try it on in 10 color variations in a matter of seconds. So you're helping them to quickly make a decision, will this be the right shoe or not for me? to then move on to the product detail page and then hopefully make a decision.
It's interesting, the virtual try-on, because we hear it sometimes, like, I don't believe in it, this is just a gimmick, and people are, I don't say right or wrong, people have their opinions about the virtual try-on, but then you have brands that are like, this is super important for us. We want this for our consumers. And is that also just like a perceived thing about the virtual try-on, because it is a hate or loved feature? Like, if you saw it 7 years ago, perhaps it didn't look that good, and then you have like, it doesn't work. But we see it very differently, and the brands that are heavily using it, they want, and that is also one thing. If the consumers go through these experiences, they have spent more time. They haven't just flipped.
Exactly.
And more time equals more information equals a better decision.
And a more memorable experience.
Yeah.
You actually spend time with the brand. It's like brand definition as well.
Yeah. And how do they reason with the virtual try-on? Is it, as you said, they want them to be able to see how it looks, to create more certainty. And it's not just a gimmick.
Yeah, so some brand-driven brands that are very picky and about like how their brand is perceived.
Yeah, sure.
They might have their skepticism about this because it's not a one-to-one with the reality. Like, you see that it's artificial in the camera.
Yeah.
But if someone is like 1% data-driven and curious about, can this help my consumers or not, I will say that most of them are willing to try. And then they review the numbers of maybe how much more time did they spend, or what are the likeliness of them adding to cart, or how many products did they experience. And then the data shows it again and again and again. The only problem that we have currently with the virtual try-on is that not enough people click it.
Yeah.
And that could be of numerous reasons, but we try to work with all of our brands to see, is it the position of the button? Is it the formulation on the text? Is it the colors of the borders, or whatever it may be? That's the only problem. But as soon as you have it there, as soon as you have a significant amount of people who actually tries it, we see it again and again. It helps. Either it prevents an unnecessary return, or it helps with a successful purchase.
Yeah. Yeah, so the moral of the story is just try it, look at the data. Like, then if it doesn't work, then yell at us that it doesn't work. No, because like Intersport with their products, J.Lindeberg, they have their products, and then we move into Bexley, completely different brand.
Yeah.
And this is what's fun about our job. It's not like, we only work with running brands or sneaker brands or whatever. We can work with very different type of brands. So Bexley, completely different brand, different feel of their products, high end,
different audience.
Yeah.
They have exactly the same approach, I would say. I think the why behind it just a little bit different.
Yeah.
For them, it's about reflecting the price point and the premiumness of their products, but in the digital experience.
Yeah.
So to have something different than just high-end pack shots and rich product descriptions, to give their audience a bit more, to have a more memorable experience. In very short. Otherwise, everything is the same. Like the rationale, the KPIs that they hope to see, things like that, but mainly the perceived value, because they are such a high-end brand with that price point of the products.
Yeah. Yeah, it makes sense, and because sometimes you hear, the fashion. No, it's not for that kind of brand, or 3D is for that type of product. But still, it wasn't like their shoe the most viewed shoe of all the brands for like a month time or something like that.
Exactly.
Was it like 100,000 or how many?
I don't remember. It was before the summer, and
it was a lot.
And we work with quite some big brands, and Bexley is a big one, but maybe their presence is the biggest in France.
Yeah.
So when we deep dive into the data and saw that their shoe was the most interacted one among anything, that was quite impressive. And that told us something that at least we couldn't have foreseen, because we thought that with a slightly older audience group, with a slightly more heritage as a brand and a traditional retail chain, we maybe didn't consider to have those numbers on their account.
Yeah.
But that shows that something is happening out there.
Yeah. But it's like you say, and we discussed this a lot internally. It is that mindset shift. That long term, we want this for our consumers.
Yeah.
And then, of course, immersive 3D is one thing, and then they do a lot of different things in their communication, and like that has nothing to do with us. But I think I hear it over and over and over again from our clients. This shift, we want to do this for them. We want to give them. We want to give away control. We want them to have a memorable experience.
Exactly.
Find the right product. What you see is what you get.
Yeah.
And I think that's very interesting. And it goes across brands. And maybe you can also share a little bit about, I can also add some things in. How did they get started? Because if there's a brand now listening and they're like, yeah, this is interesting. And then you see, perhaps you go into J.Lindeberg or you go into Gant and you see what they're doing, and they have a lot of shoes and different experiences. It perhaps sometimes can be quite, big. Like, how do I even take a stab at immersive 3D?
Yeah. Yeah, I think most of them, if we take J.Lindeberg as an example, totally new product category for them, totally new technology, never done something like this before. For them and for the most of our brands, they all start with producing one shoe in 3D. And I think we are willing to do so as well, because it's one thing to see how Gant is doing it, or how Björn Borg is doing it, or someone else. But seeing your own shoe in 3D makes it easier to really understand what it is and how you can use it. And it also sparks some interest and some interesting discussions internally, I think. It's like, oh, here we have this one. How can you use it in the B2B? How can you use it on e-commerce? Can you use it in marketing? It makes it easier to see their own shoe. That's how they get started. Once they see that, well, this experience is better than what we have, and that's a subjective opinion, but it's still valid. And it still looks like the shoe. It's a realistic representation of the shoe. Some might want to try to implement it just to see what kind of impact does it have on the performance and the speed of the site and things like that. Or others just go fully fleshed out and they just scale up and try not one shoe but 50 shoes or 500 shoes. But I would say most of them start with doing one, just to feel and squeeze the process. How easy is it to get started?
Yeah.
Or what would you say from your perspective?
Yeah, I agree. And especially for the bigger brands, just having that 3D model and all the experiences makes it easy to implement in a staging environment and share a link to, like, I send this to marketing, like, what do you think about this? Do you have any ideas? And that usually sparks interest, and then we can talk with everybody. Like for you, the 360 videos with your logo and background, and now we can scale that, and it's like, that makes sense. And then you have the e-com and other things. So that's a message to you if you're listening. And if you want your own brand, one shoe, connect with me or Mattias here and just send it. It's totally free. And it's a step that most of our clients have gone through to create that certainty, because if you're going to go in, you're going to check the market, what type of vendors are there, and make this a real big project internally. If the quality isn't there, it doesn't make any sense. So that's why it's like often like, okay, the quality it's more than good enough. Yeah. Then we take different steps. So that's a tip for you. We always find it very fun to do, and like something we can do quite easily because we can scale the production part of it. Yeah,
exactly. And sometimes the brands has their own like creative people who can work with the files as well.
Yes.
And they do some magic here and there. And once on Walla you have like a campaign banner for an email, or some kind of CGI for Meta or something like that. That's really fun to see as well.
Yeah, because if we go away from the brands now, I'm going to touch one more brand later, but it also, that immersive 3D, as we call it, like 2 years ago when we had the 3D first approach, that was it.
Yeah.
Like we had 3D first. Now you have product switchers, 3D banners, comparisons. It's growing.
Yeah.
Why?
Because we have what a tricky question. No, but I think we have managed to collect the most bold and innovative brands yet to date, brands that dare to try this, and we challenge them and they challenge us. So 2 years ago or 1.5 years ago, 3D first wasn't our standard either.
No.
But then one small brand from the UK said, what if we do this? And we were like, yeah, what if we do this? And one thing led to another. Now 97% of our customers are 3D first. And the same goes with all the more recent applications that we have released, like the live image, the 3D quick view. All of these things has happened because we are speaking with the brands. They are mentioning the problems. They sometimes have ideas. We have ideas. We join forces and we do small POCs, proof of concepts.
Yeah.
And then we scale it. So that's how, for example, the more recent one, 3D quick view, came to life. Like we heard time over time. Like we are struggling to get people from the PLP to the PDP. We're talking about that they lose, or 1/3 goes from the PLP to the PDP. And we were like, how can we help with that? And showing 3D in the gallery instead of the photo, not viable, because on a page you might have hundreds of products listed.
It's gonna be a slow page.
Not slow in that sense, but it can be like a Tivoli, like you have 100 shoes rotating automatically at the same time.
Yeah.
And you have RAM, memory, and storage and things like that. Technical things that I can't even explain. But then we thought, what if we do like this? And we know from before that quick shop and quick view in another kind of context is quite common practice. So what if we take that, but we enhance it? And we make the user in control, and we add some color switchers and product banners and things like that. So yeah, we just work close with the clients and we develop. And yeah.
And that is also something I want to touch on, because once you have the 3D model, you have a 3D model. And what I also see from the brands that have been clients for a while, it just gets more use cases.
Yeah.
So it just keeps growing. Perhaps we start on, the e-commerce side, and then go into the marketing side, and then you have a social media campaign, and then you have a special landing. So it just keeps growing. And how are these brands thinking? Because it's easy to say we bought a service, we implemented on the PDP. That's it.
Yeah.
But they don't think like that. So how do they see it?
I would say that they see it as a tool to make immersive and engagement experiences. So more recently, we see a lot of new product drops.
Yeah.
And we see people doing grid breakers, where they swap out maybe 2 items in the grid for a 3D model, or they make augmented size comparison, or they make a 3D banner. Like they just try to make something different to make the pages a bit more unique and engageable, so to say.
Yeah.
And I think there's other discussions and other things that goes into how they design their campaigns and how they design the landing pages, but they know that they have this as a tool, and they know that it's like we have the core, we have the technologies. Then it can either be a button, or it can be like a viewer, or it can be a QR code, and then they have a quite wide arsenal of tools that they can use. Sometimes it can just work, plug and play. Sometimes it doesn't work. Then they ask us, can you do this? We say yes or no. Most often we say yes, because we're yes sayers. And then you have just another tool in your box, basically.
Yeah, that's awesome. And also just quickly share, because we see it's growing in the marketing departments as well.
Yeah.
We see special campaigns and videos and all of that stuff. Because if you're sitting now listening, you're like, oh, this sounds interesting. I think it's good just to get a view of what's possible and what's been happening, what we've seen the brands doing. So before we end, I want you just to share some use cases.
Yeah. And I think for me, it's basically two things. One thing is the file. And the thing behind that is not that it's 3D or not 3D. It's just a reusable file that you can be creative with. And the artists make the magic. We don't. We just give the file. And we make it easy to create like stunning CGI.
And we give away 20 3D files to the community a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
And now they're just doing stuff.
Yeah, it's insane.
Yeah.
Like it's just the imagination that says the limitation.
For sure.
When it comes to that. But one thing that I'm particularly excited about, and I think will really become a standard this second half of the year, is to also have this scale factor in terms of product videos. So 3D in advertising formats, we have heard it for a while. Google has said something, Meta said something. We haven't really seen it yet, not sure why. However, video has been available for a while, but we haven't seen the big brands tap into it yet, and that's because video production is difficult to scale because of the time and cost factor. But with this like possibility being out there, and with our mindset, we have built a new feature that we call dynamic video feed. So with the same 3D models that we do for web use, we can also reuse them and push them through our rendering pipeline and do videos, package it in a feed, and out comes a format that you can show 360 animations in your dynamic product ads, for example, on Meta. And for me, this is a true game changer, and what I'm most excited about this second half of the year, because I know how much money is being spent on the DPAs. Yeah. Doesn't matter what type of brand or country or audience, like there's so much money, and it's most often the campaigns that works the best. But the problem with them today is that you only get like one angle of the product. So now you can make that you can give both more context to the viewer or the potential buyer by showing it in 360, but you also have a more memorable advertising experience. You instantly stick out from the rest of the brands doing the static DPAs. So I think...
have any of our clients done this?
Yes, 5 of them up until now. Yeah. We released it in late June, so we haven't come so far yet because of the Swedish holidays, but 5 of them have, and we have a case study that we can link to as well. But Gant was the first one that did it, and they got some remarkable results, both in the return of ad spend, but also in the click-through rate. And for them, it was like the CTR that was the thing, because they are trying to find a way to drive more traffic to the site, and then they have other things on the website and other things in the funnel that is supposed to make that a conversion or not. But that was a very first positive indication. Yeah,
and this, this is a no-brainer because we have the 3D model. Like to render it's not like the brands need to do anything.
No, it's the same process.
They don't need to stand with, the fish line and, all these things. No, it's very interesting. I'm also very excited about this particular part, and just to increase what we're trying to do with both scaling number of productions, but also scaling the number of pieces of content and experiences to provide the brands with tools, because they know their customers best. But again, if they see like click-through rate up 30% using video, then you're probably going to use a bit more video. Yeah. It's been the time has flown by as always. So I think we need to wrap up here. But if you're watching this and you're interested, we always say check the market, speak to a lot of different vendors, reach out to me or Mattias here on LinkedIn. We will have our email addresses somewhere as well. So I want to thank you, Mattias. Awesome job.
Thank you.
I think we just get right back into it.
Yeah.
Do you want to leave the viewers with something, or do you feel like no, I'm done?
I'm quite happy with
you're
that.
happy with it. Yeah, but awesome. But then thanks for listening, and see you next time.
See you. Thank you.
Ciao.